Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulika al-Kareem. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. I'm going to record a short video to explain what I said on the 2nd of May to the Board of Trustees of the Edmonton Public School Board. The Board of Trustees allows public input, but it also limits that input to 3 minutes. The reason for going to the Board of Trustees was that there are certain aspects of the Sakinah Circle Alternative Program requiring their input, their attention, the attention of the district, and the attention of the school administration. 3 separate levels are required. And the step taken to reach out to the Board of Trustees was done with great deal of responsibility, and I stand by every single point I mentioned in those 180 seconds. But because, what is said in a concentrated form requires unpacking, because people can take it in many different ways, and it has been taken in many different ways. And that creates confusion, and that also creates misunderstandings. So I am recording this video for the parents, for the teachers, and for the Board of Trustees, for the district, in order to explain what was said during those 180 seconds. And I have documented this as well. And Muslim Education Foundation is still hopeful, and we trust the system is robust. Our education system, whatever its flaws be, does have the self-corrective measures in place, and hopefully all of these things would be resolved by the people who are involved. As you know, Sakinah Circle Alternative Program started when Muslim Education Foundation approached Edmonton Public School Boards back in 2007 to start a program within the public school system based on a certain philosophy of education drawn from the Quranic worldview. 2010, the program becomes an approved alternative program delivering Alberta curriculum of studies from the Quranic perspective. What does it mean to deliver Alberta program of studies from the Quranic perspective? This is really the foundational raison d'etre of this program. And if we don't understand what it means, then obviously we have no standards and we have no procedures in place. So the reason to reach out to the Board of Trustees was that there are certain structural flaws in the making of this program. When we sat down with the district over a period of 2 years to develop those documents on the basis of which the program started, we didn't have the experience, the district didn't have the experience to say, how would we ensure that this program continues to deliver what we are advertising? Number one, when I said 4 things in those 180 seconds. First, I said the program has become an orphan. What does that mean? That means that soon after 2010, the whole team at the district level either retired or they changed their positions to something else, which means people who spent 2 years together to develop those foundation documents were no more there. And then we had a terrible start at Grace Martin because of what happened, and that is fully documented downtown and within our own records. I don't want to go into details of that right now. The program became an orphan because there is no support for the program at the district level in the system. And this is what I mean by that. I mean the program has become an orphan because the district has no means to ensure that it actually delivers what it advertises. Number two, we have had 5 principals in the last 13 years, and every single principal comes to Sakinah Circle without knowing what does it mean to deliver Alberta Program of Studies from the Quranic worldview. This is a failure of the system, because in all our systems, we have objective, verifiable procedures. No matter who comes, no matter which government comes in power, we have certain level of stability in our system, that things continue to happen, passports continue to be issued, visas continue to be processed, economic affairs continue to happen. But what system do we have in place so that every new principal who comes to Sakinah Circle doesn't have to start from zero? Nothing. Number three, the program has become orphan because there is no continuity year to year. There is no continuity. There is no support in the system. Edmonton Public School Board has tons of resources for teachers. Teachers have access. They want to teach a unit on persuasive writing or in social studies or history or science. They have organized material that can be used in the regular programs. In Sakinah Circle, there is no such system in place where there is a pool of content and resources accessible to the teachers. That's the other level of being orphan. Now, I want to really clarify, when I said this has become a disaster, what do I mean by this? And when I say this has become a regular program, upon which downloaded Islam from the internet is sprinkled. This is a very sensitive point. And of course, in 180 seconds, you could not explain that, but this is fully documented. And this is very important for parents, for teachers, for the whole community to know. What does it mean that program has become a disaster in terms of its lack of authenticity, verifiable authenticity? Now, please listen to this very carefully, because this does not mean that I am saying that every single teacher or every single classroom, every single grade, every single subject in this program downloads Islam and sprinkles it on a secular curriculum or a content. No, this is not said. This has never been said. This has been explained at the school level in meeting after meeting over the last school year, and this is not the intent. But unfortunately, this is something that is causing a great deal of anxiety, and understandably so. So I want to make it absolutely clear to everyone, this was not the intention, this is not the intention, but at the same time, everybody involved in this program knows that there are no objective, verifiable standards anywhere in the system. So those teachers who have put so much effort into it, they are greatly respected. Every teacher is greatly respected. Everything that has been done with intention over these years is great. And this is really a unique program, not only in Edmonton Public School Board, but in the entire country. There is no other school board, public school board, that has such a philosophy of education built into it. So having said that, I want to provide specific examples of what is meant by disaster, downloaded Islam, sprinkled Islam. Those who know, and this is not pointing to anyone specifically, just imagine if you have to deliver something in a grade 6 or grade 5 or grade 4, whichever grade you are teaching, where would you go to find authentic resources for the content that would meet the outcomes of Alberta Program of Studies? Where would you find them? There has to be a process in place of where in the system where such resources are available, authentic with authenticity. Now, in the absence of these, what happens? We have great efforts made by uninformed Muslims, with good intentions perhaps, to claim, oh, we invented the flying machines. Ibn Farnas was the first human being who gave us the idea of flying. Like this has been going on for the last 40 years. This is nothing new, but it has just become so widespread that unless you are in the tradition, unless you know the history of philosophy of science, unless you know what Muslim contributions are, you are bound to mix falsehood with truth. What does that do? It devalues the gold we have. We did not invent flying. We did not invent flying. We did not invent thermocouple. What we did is solid gold. And this is so beautiful and is so essential for the continuity of development of sciences that we have today. Without the Muslim contributions, I have always said we have 800 years of Islamic scientific tradition. No other civilization has produced a scientific tradition that is that long. 800 years, including the contemporary modern science. But to contaminate that gold with fake material, suppose we have 1 kilo of gold, and suddenly we download the rest of it and say, oh, we actually have 10 kilos of gold. What have we done? We have destroyed our claim of 1 kilo of gold, pure gold, by adding 9 more kilos of fake gold. That's all that's being said. The program needs to have verifiable, objective procedures in place so that when our children are told, this is what Al-Biruni did, this is what Ibn Sina did, this is what Jamsheduddin Kashani did, they are certain, we are certain, everybody in the system knows that this is coming from solid, fully researched material. This is not downloaded from the internet. Al-Biruni was the first person who differentiated between temperature and heat. He said that if you put your finger, if you heat in two parts, honey and water, and keep them, bring them to the same temperature, and then you put your finger in water and you put your finger in honey, the amount of heat in honey is far greater than the amount of heat in water. Your finger will burn, he said. And why? He said, because every substance has specific heat. This is his concept. Differentiation between temperature and heat, fundamental. But he didn't invent thermocouple. Now we have thermocouple based on this principle because copper would expand more than iron, for example. And if the copper expands, then your furnace will go on because there is this thermocouple there. But who invented thermocouple? Not Al-Biruni. Somebody else did that. To make that critical distinction in an educational system is absolutely essential for the authenticity of that program. Number two, it's absolutely essential for keeping the trust of these young minds, because they are going to find out when they go out of Sakinah Circle. When they go to university system, they will find out that, oh, this was fake. My teacher told me falsehood. And what else was I taught that is not true. This is huge. This is really huge. So when I said that it's a disaster to have a program where there are no standards to determine the authenticity or lack thereof, I stand by those words. We have absolutely no standards set. I want to mention something even more important, which was said in that 3-minute speech. I said there are 4 chokeholds. They are strangling this program. Unless we come to rescue it, unless there are efforts made, unless there is intentional input with time and effort and commitment, then we are just talking fake. everything is fake unless we say that, yes, this is a great program because people are willing to put effort into making it what it's supposed to be. So no one is saying that tomorrow Sakinah Circle is going to be doing everything with a gold standard. No, that's not what's being said. We are saying there are 4 things which need to happen. Number 1, we need to have objective, verifiable standards, which mean that the content and its delivery are authentic. They are based on solid scholarship. Number 2, the staffing. Everything depends on what happens in the classroom. So we must recognize, and this is not a shame to recognize, that University of Alberta Department of Education does not produce graduates to deliver Alberta Program of Studies from the Quranic perspective. There is no problem in that. We have to deal with realities. And also it's true that the teachers, the staff in Sakinah Circle is a dedicated team. But they need to have constant time for professional development because they are part of an alternative system. Now, would the district put resources into saying every month or so, we have a dedicated time for Sakinah teachers to have professional development according to a very well-established plan of action? Is it too much to ask from the district for this program? No. Number 3 is the enrollment. Sakinah Circle is a teaching philosophy-based alternative program. When enrollment happens on the basis of the same criteria that is used for the regular programs, we are reducing the value of this program because there is no process of alignment of the parents' choice, what they want for their children, and the enrollment process. This program should be open to everyone in the city. Like if you start a program specializing in sports, and the person comes and say, I just live next door, it's easy for me to join this program, but I have no interest in your support program. Or likewise, for other such programs in Edmonton Public School Board. The Sakinah Circle should be open to those who are really interested in an education delivered from the Quranic perspective. And finally, Arabic. Arabic is such a fundamental subject for Sakinah Circle because the Quran is in Arabic, because this program advertises itself to deliver Alberta Program of Studies from the Quranic perspective. This can be a huge contribution to the program, but over the last 13 years, what have we done with Arabic? Sakinah Circle teaches Edmonton Public School Board's Arabic language and culture program. The curriculum that was developed, that is the foundational curriculum for this. But we need to deliver that from the Quranic worldview because this is an alternative program. I won't go into details, but this is really an area that needs urgent attention by all. So with this, the last thing I said, I really feel passionate about it. Board of Trustees passed this resolution or this recommendation on the 23rd of March, 2010. The second point in the regulation, there are 2 points. The second point was that this program recognizes the 2 Islamic festivals of Eid. This was such a huge distinction for the Edmonton Public School Board to recognize the 2 Eids as an official holiday and thereby start the Sakinah Circle sooner than the rest of the program. It has been taken away. And it has been taken away at a tertiary level. I wanted to bring that to the attention of the Board of Trustees that this is not right. Like we worked hard for this recognition and it was a great recognition. It is a great recognition. this needs to be reestablished, and that needs to happen at the level of, it was taken away at the level of school, which is not right in the first place. That means there is a broken system here. One person comes and that person takes away what the highest authority in the system has instituted without anyone noticing, without anyone raising a voice about it. That's not right. We don't live in broken systems. We are living in a country, we are living in a system that we have great hopes from that system. So one more time, I want to clarify, because there is no other way of reaching out to the stakeholders, people who are concerned about this program, the Board of Trustees, the district administration, the school administration, the parents, the families, teachers, and the students. So inshallah, we hope that this brings greater clarity, and there is absolutely no intention of reducing to zero what has been achieved in 13 years. That would be suicidal. We are part of that. What we have achieved is great, but I gave the example to the school administration in several meetings that when Newton arrived, he just reconfigured, and he just gave us a totally different concept of the natural world. The force of gravity has been here ever since this cosmos came into existence, but he is the one who formulated it for us. And then 1905, Albert Einstein comes along, and what does he do? He just throws out Newtonian physics, and then we are into the quantum physics level. Does that mean that we have no respect for Newton? No. It has been said over and over. Newton himself said that he could only do what he did standing on the shoulders of the ancients. So we are literally standing on the shoulders of our great scholars, of the giants of Islamic tradition, who came up with this gold standard of 10 foundational principles, al-Mabadi al-Ashra. And those gold standard principles have been in our tradition for the last 1,000 years. They are applied to every single branch of knowledge, from the Quranic studies to hadith, to natural sciences, to language arts, to history, mathematics, everything. And they are not my standards. I am not making them up. They are there. All we need to do is to say that these are the standards against which we are going to measure our performance. These are the standards we are going to implement. And the first of those principles is the definition, had. What does this subject study? What is the definition of this subject? For example, language arts or science, anything. What does science do? It studies the natural world. What is natural world made of? It's made of matter. So science studies the properties of matter in various forms. Ultimately, we are talking about the natural sciences. So these people, scholars of, from the 4th century onward, within 100 years or so after the translation movement finished, they came up with these principles which give us pointers, which give us foundational principles to bring the Quranic worldview into everything that we teach. So these things can be explained, but the initial need is the intentional commitment to set things right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.